This is Thomas Nichols, your host for this episode of Fathom and Friends podcast. I'm here with a good guest, man. I'm here with a guest that everybody might know. I'm not sure. You should if you don't. A podcaster, stand-up comedian, comic strip writer, very funny, good friend of mine, Adam Taylor.
Thank you. It's good to be here. We traveled fucking far for this.
Yeah, we did. We totally did. I flew in from Denver to do this podcast with you, man.
I still can't believe what you did yesterday just to like fucking get up here. That
just
travel.
for this.
Well, like we were talking about last night, people don't get how much work it is for somebody to get on stage. Like you flew out Thursday night at what time?
That was like 6 or something like that.
And then you stayed in Vegas airport for 8 hours.
8 hours.
And then flew up here. What time? Like you were just in the airport overnight.
Pretty much, yeah. I just hung out. I was working though. I was getting ready for the pod, bro. You got to prep. You know.
I know. I've done a couple of them.
I see the work that you do, bro.
Yeah.
The amount of work you put in for this podcast is crazy.
For the number of people listening and watching, it's out of control.
But it's such an investment that it's a good investment though, because all you kind of need is like that one to really like pop to go to the rest of them, correct?
Yeah. I mean, also, I just want to say, like, I know we're on YouTube. If you're watching, like, share, subscribe. But like, I got the pipes out. If this is too distracting for you visually,
okay,
I can put something else on. I had them out for another episode, but like
looking over here now,
it's
straight at the camera. Listen, don't. No, but I mean, like when it comes to this podcast, so like we could jump right into it because I'm curious. I am curious, like, what is the prep work? Like, how long? Because you release a podcast like every week,
yeah,
right? And is it just one a week, or do you do like 2 a week? Like, how often do you record?
We do weekly, and it wasn't that way originally. Like when I started this thing, the only reason why I started a podcast was I wanted to like work on comedy, like chops or whatever, and it was such a struggle to get on stage when I was starting that like it was a way to like get jokes out.
Yeah.
And I had listened to something Mike DeVore, who's very fat now. It's gross. But like
shout out to Mike DeVore, man, at McDoubles.
He sent me.
We need Mike here, man.
No defense of self there, but like he sent me this video, which for this episode I'm including a bunch of like just things that I thought were helpful in starting comedy. Yeah. Like it's a 3-hour interview of Ari Shaffir at the Comedy Store about like starting in comedy, advice for new comics. And I don't think like advice is a good thing to be giving in comedy for the most part, but like he does a Q&A and like gives his feedback and insight on it. And so one of the things he said was just like getting on stage isn't the only way you can get your jokes out.
Okay.
And this was an option to do it. And dude, it's evolved so much. Like we started with like 2 microphones and like this shitty little sound box, and now we have like a full board.
I see.
I mean, when you came on,
exactly,
it's totally different. And like, I wish I've learned so much. Like we have this gain booster now. So if anybody's starting a podcast and they ask me questions about it, I'm like, dude, get a gain booster. Because like, even
what is it actually called?
That one's
something else specifically.
Cloud Lifter. But they're like different options you can get online that aren't as expensive.
The technology is the actual hardware itself is called a gain booster. So people can type in gain booster and it come up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And dude, I don't know anything about audio tech stuff.
I got you.
I still really don't know much, but when you fuck up, you learn like, oh, we released this episode, but people can't hear it as well because there's only so much you can do in post-production. So these get the most out of your mics and really like a rich quality sound, which for people listening, like it makes a big difference. If the audio isn't good, people aren't going to keep listening.
And so with all the technology that you have, because you evolved from the small, what's it exactly called? It's just a recorder, pretty much, right?
Oh, that was a audio interface.
And you still use that because you do stuff on the road. I've seen.
I use
some
a
that you
Zoom
record.
for that.
Okay,
Like
okay.
the Zoom H6 for road stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to have some kind of like portable recording option so that when we do stuff on the, it's just fun. Like with cameras too, it makes it more
I
fun.
was just about to ask about that because
Yeah.
you evolved from that to just using that alone to now you have cameras in here. And you also have this it looks brand new, by the way. A brand new soundboard. I used to see soundboards because I used to work in. I was a theater kid, so I would see soundboards, and all the soundboards
That
were
makes
mad
sense.
dusty. Yeah, I get all this. They're mad dusty. They got dust everywhere. But this is
It's
actually
crazy
like
you don't have
brand
more
new.
act outs if you were a theater kid.
Well, I wasn't like I was a tech theater kid,
Oh, okay.
so
That
I
makes
get to
more
see
sense.
people do the stage, and I used to do the lights and stuff like that, so and build the sets and all that shit.
That makes sense.
So it's interesting seeing the set that you have here specifically. Would
Dude,
you in
and
theater
it's-
at all?
No, God. Dude, the first time I got on stage really was stand up. Like I remember I had an ex hit me up like relatively recently after seeing like all that shit I've been doing. And she's like, you were terrified of public speaking in college.
Yeah.
Like it was to the point where the first time, like I took Corey Michaelis's class, and the first time I held the microphone, like it was in a classroom, dude, and I was like, my hand was like
Like a legit
vibrating.
classroom.
He leased out of space, but like we were
okay.
in,
I got you.
and I still have stage anxiety. Like it's their performance anxiety in and out of the bedroom. You know, it's not.
I'm back over here, back talking to you. So, but I mean that never goes away. I don't feel like we were talking about that last night. Like it kind of just stays. Like it stayed with me for forever now.
For different moments. Like it's for you were about to do 45.
Yeah.
So like, and you hadn't done 45 in a minute.
while, yeah.
And like, so you were feeling it.
But even then, like even if I'm doing, just 25, and I've been doing 25, I could do that easily. But it's still something about that time. Do you feel like that about potting as well? Do you get that anxiety when you?
It's fun.
When you put on your cans.
Dude, these cans.
Why do you refer to headphones as cans? Let's get to that first.
No, it's just like somebody. I think Wilfred was the first one that came out. He's like, "Oh, look at these cans," and like, it's just like an old time type reference for headphones. I don't know.
Wilfred, bro, don't ever use cans. Just call it headphones, bro.
He was the first one, but
It just stuck with you. But yeah, do you feel that anxiety? Because you get different. Sometimes you have one, sometimes you have two guests.
Yeah,
and you don't necessarily ever meet them like in person. So do you feel like how do you feel about that?
Fucking podcasting's hard. Like I don't think I had any appreciation for like what goes into it, and there is, my experience has been like there's a little bit of like just luck involved with it. Like sometimes you put the pieces together and really cool stuff happens, but other times you try to. I don't know, and it's so hard. One thing I really didn't understand when I started, which I wish I had, was like how to gain traction with a podcast.
Okay.
And where we're at in terms of like the evolution of podcasting and like how like using it as like, I guess, a marketing tool. Because originally it was like you start a podcast to promote your stand up to where like you can charge, I don't know, do Patreon or like people can buy your shit off of there. And like that was when if you put your podcast on like Apple Podcasts, it would show up on the charts and like just like almost like comedy albums or something. Now there's so many podcasts. Like I don't know how many thousand podcasts there are. Like maybe in the millions.
And where's yours at the moment?
Ranking wise.
Yeah. Where would you rank yours? Where would you?
I mean,
I'm gonna say number one. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, number one's obviously an argument can be made.
I mean, what's up? What else is up there? Number one, blank. Who's number four?
Pancreation Philosophy by Petrola Cruz is obviously a close one too. I don't even know if he's still recording, but he's been
still up
on.
there.
Yeah,
I re-listen to those all the time, so he's up there. He gets my listens for sure.
Well, okay, one thing I do have to say is when I started, I started podcasting when I got into stand up.
I was just about to ask about that.
It was crazy. So like,
how far into stand up did you do before you started doing the podcast? Because I met you when you started doing stand up, and then
it was like almost at the same time.
Really?
Yeah. So like I had this idea for podcasts but it wasn't fully fleshed out, and I just have approached it the same way I have with anything creative, where I'm like, I just want to get into it and like figure it out along the way.
Yeah.
And I do think like having like a plan, like a mapped out, like this is what it's going to be, is going to make it shittier.
So there wasn't really a transition into, I'm going to go from stand up to pod. You kind of did stand up one night and then the pod the very next day. You started those two things at the same time.
And the cartoon.
Okay.
It was everything all at once because I really wanted to get into comedy writing. And so like the first episode, like I have this
Let's jump
written.
into, hold on a second. Beefcake and Butterball is the cartoon that he's referring to. He's the comic strip writer. He's been doing this for like, 3 years now? And it's dope. I like it. I personally dig it. I think it's really cool, innovative as well. I wish they were longer.
Yeah.
But I see like the potential in it being a full thing. So now at this point, like you've been doing that for 3 years. And how'd you get into that from? I mean, you all started those at the same time, which is crazy.
Yeah, no, dude, it was. I just really wanted to like work on that skill of like getting jokes out and like writing a shitload. And you know, I got to shout out to Chase Moore. He's the like actual like he designs all the art for it. But
super dope artist, by the way.
And you've gone back and forth with Just Us Cops, like. Shout out to Just Us Cops here, Thomas's comic book series.
I'll tell you about that later.
Yeah. I think it's in the show notes.
It's probably somewhere in there.
But there's a back and forth that you do with like a visual artist that like initially when you start, you might not even have like the vocabulary to like adjust stuff and like tell them how you want things. And like slowly over time, our stuff has gotten a lot better, but fuck man, like during the pandemic, I could feel how bad the comic strip was slipping, just in terms of like I could not get the form to work. Gotcha. Like it's 4 panels, and you have to write something funny in it, which is incredibly like that's a puzzle to solve.
Yes, it is.
It's so fucking hard, and there has to be a story, there has to be a joke, and it has to make sense like visually and written. And a lot of them did not like, and I started feeling that. So I like I started reading as many books as I could. Nikita Oster like told me about this book called Understanding Comics, which is in the show notes, which just breaks down what comic books are like, what and the different styles and the different forms. And there's a bunch like, I think there's 3 of them. It's a really good book.
You told me about some of them too, though. You told me about some of the books that you were reading during the pandemic. Because I think I came down here within those 2 years.
I think so.
At one point, and we were talking. I don't remember exactly the book, but I scanned through it, and I've seen that book around before.
It's good. It's really
it's
like
dope.
if you write comics, you will get something out of that book for sure.
And all those books will be posted in the show notes.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna add a bunch of stuff to the show notes, by the way, guys.
If
you want to add them to this number, I'll put that in the show notes. If you just want to send them hate mail, that would be in the show notes.
I'll just throw negative feedback in the YouTube video.
Yeah, talk about his pythons.
Yeah, whatever you want. Pythons. It's
don't
whatever. I'm trying to do my best Jesse Warren right now.
Shout out to Jesse Warren. We could just shout out all the comics that we just referenced to.
All of them.
No, but like doing all 3 of those and starting at the same time, dude, that's a hell of a busy schedule.
Well, that's why we had like regular episodes and then bonus episodes. So what happened was we went into the pandemic and it was like we were recording once every other week. And it's hard to podcast like if you're not doing it frequently. Like there's a muscle that you have, like just active listening, and it's so different. Like it's stand up is like 5 minutes is super compressed, like you know, being present. Whereas like podcasting's almost like baseball, where like there are these little flare ups, but you gotta be present the whole time through. And then with comics, it's way worse. Like
and you're by yourself all the way.
Oh yeah, but comics they bounce around like a motherfucker. Like
but you always go back and redo it before you send it off to the artist, and then you and the artist have that conversation. That's the only time.
I meant like comedians.
Oh, comedians. That's just comic books. My bad.
Yeah. Like comedians, it's one thing I learned early on in podcasting was I got to like interview all these comedians, right? And of all different levels, and you start seeing some similarities and shit. And like a lot of times the ones that are like have experienced success or are very like what I'd consider to be good comics, they're humble and like they understand where they rank compared to other like you've seen the South Park where it's like the underpants fairies.
Yeah.
Where it's like
yeah,
step
for sure.
1, collect underpants. Step 2, step 3, profit.
Yeah.
It's literally, I don't know how many people I've met in comedy where they're at like a level where they're starting and then they want a Netflix special.
I got you. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that definitely happens when people start. And I don't understand why that was always a thing. What happened to just liking what you do?
Well, dude, you ever wonder what it would be like if they got that special?
Oh my God.
Because I've seen a couple people who have.
Well, I've seen the people that that get the special or even on a TV show and they don't even have the 10 minutes to even do anything.
No, it's crazy. And it's such a weird space to be in where there's no barrier to entry.
Right.
Like anybody can start comedy right now. That's what I didn't understand when I came in. That like, oh, you can just start
and
whenever
make it.
you want. Yeah.
And make it like a lucky TikTok somehow.
Whatever it is. Which that piece of stuff is like, that's new, and like how the internet and technology has like influenced our industry is crazy. Like, because you get these people that like, maybe they're successful in the old way, like in New York, that have no respect for like internet comics.
Right.
And then people that do the internet comedy that like what I've experienced with some of those folks is like, if you're a comedian and you're in a space like New York where you're around other comics, there's ribbing, there's like, that stuff, it builds your skin up. But if you're on an island and you're creating content and you're just like, you're just doing it what you think is funny or whatever, oftentimes you're super reactive to what people have to say, super sensitive and kind of crazy. Like it's not like, it's like, it's a very weird space where, like, can you imagine like everything that you thought was funny being funny, like where you're hitting 100%?
That'd be annoying. I ain't gonna lie to you.
It's crazy. And like good comedy writers, like I don't know what book it was in that I read, but like the best comedy writers in the world hit 10%. Yeah. Like that's 1 out of 10 jokes they write is really good. So like,
at least for the majority of everybody, for the most part.
And of that 10%, that's not even looking at, hey, is this hack? Has this been done before? Yeah. Is this in my voice? So like, in order to get to the good jokes, you need to go through 90% of trash.
And that's what the open mic is for, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, and you've been, how long were you doing open mics before you actually like got booked the first time?
Dude, so I did that like graduation show for the class.
Besides that, that don't count.
No, I got booked off that show.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I got booked the week after, dude, and it was so.
How long was the class?
The class was a month, and dude, these pipes they need a lot of water. By the way, I get crazy thirsty pockets.
Why,
I'm sure
bro?
It's super annoying to people.
No, I mean, but it's real. Fuck that. I mean,
yeah,
you're a human being. You need water too.
I know, but like,
why are you looking at
I'm
his
not.
arms?
No,
it makes it weird.
I know.
To like talk to me, but look at his arms. That's so weird. I'm not looking at him. I gotta give him a 5-minute break. I'm not looking at this guy right now.
It's just, you can just look at the camera. That's fine. That's why we're on YouTube.
So you got booked off that show. The class was for a month. You got booked off that. Where did you get booked at?
It was basically. I don't know if you did the Lime ever in Kirkland, Washington, but
I'm going to say no.
It was pretty much like a shitty Buffalo Wild Wings.
Were the wings good or were they shitty too?
It was $1 taco night that night on Tuesday. And like, dude, I had no context, right? So the first show I did, this is how bad my like anxiety, I mean, the whole fucking day, I'm just like vibrating. Yeah. And not getting enough sleep, all that shit, because you got to be out so late for stand-up. And I don't know if it was this show or the next one I did there, but I'm pretty sure it was this one where I had Like I barely knew my jokes. You know, I did them like one time.
Yeah.
I spaced on stage. So in front of a group of people on like almost like a theater performance stage.
What?
Like
Really?
I had to pull out of my pocket what my jokes were.
Oh.
And I didn't even know like you could do something else.
Yeah.
I started like basically doing shows before I did mics, and I still to this day it holds me back. I'm trying to like figure out ways to like do both.
Yeah.
And you know, because I see some guys that do a shitload of mics, and like I think their voice is very strong, and like it's a different skill set. I mean, what do you think? You did mics quite a bit when you started.
I for sure. I started at mics for sure, and it was cool. It was dope. I liked it. I liked the idea of not having. I knew the pressure that came with possibly being booked on the show, so I started at the lowest level I could, which was over mics first.
And that was in Dallas.
I was in Arlington, Texas. Yeah.
Okay.
So, which is a part of Dallas, but yeah, and I started there at some ran down club. Called the Hyenas Comedy Club. This is another one, not out of the branch of the two that's there now. This one shut down. Yeah. And it was like, this back when, it was old to where back where people used to smoke in clubs.
Really?
So you'll walk in and they don't smoke in the club anymore, but had that smoke smell. Dude, it was the worst, bro. But the club was cool. Like, I met a lot of people there that are still friends to this day that still do stand-up. So.
And it was Texas too, so it was fucking hot.
Hell yeah. Hot and smoke cigarettes. Ugh. And spilled liquor on the ground. You smell all that shit. It was just there.
Do you have anything in your act that you still do from like those early days?
No.
Yeah. What were you talking about on stage?
I was just about to ask you that question, bro.
Yeah.
Because I was super curious what you're talking about. I mean, what did I talk about? The crazy thing about it is I remember I had a messed up car. And I was talking about my car a lot. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember the joke. I think it was like something about my car overheating in the winter or something like that. And I didn't get it. Why it would overheat when it's fucking freezing outside? Probably something like that. But I can't remember the rest of the set.
It's not a bad joke. I mean, just like there's something there for sure.
I got rid of that shit so fast. But what was like your thing?
Oh fuck! I mean, I can't imagine how many people that like if they hear this and were around at that time, they're like, oh, he did this. Like, dude, I had some stuff about, I mean, why I named this podcast, like my brother calling me fat growing up. And like, that was like the first joke I ever, like joke I ever wrote. And it was like, when I first wrote it, I was like, fuck it. 'Cause when you're making something, when you're creating something, it's such a weird feeling. You know what I mean? Like it's like being in the kitchen with the lights off and you just have a bunch of ingredients and you're like putting them all together. And then the only way you find out really if it's any good is you turn the lights on and the spoon is in your mouth and you're like, this tastes like shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
And I think people that aren't doing comedy, that whether they're just like bookers or, you know, people watching or whatever, they don't understand that. Like and that's one piece of the whole like comedians getting canceled type thing over a joke. It's like, yo, we don't really know where lines are until we cross them.
And even then, some of those lines aren't for everybody.
No.
So
I mean, how many things have you gotten away with on stage where you're like, oh, I can say this?
That's
like
crazy, bro.
it's nuts. Yeah.
That line is crazy, bro. And we want to get as close to the line as possible.
Some of us.
But also some of us also just want to cross the line in general. And usually that's the thing that when comics first start, the first thing they want to do is just cross the line and be more of a shock comic than an actual like, haha, that's funny comic.
Yeah, I confuse that a lot early on. Like somebody explained to me that shock in comedy is kind of like salt. Like it can enhance a joke, but if too much of it will ruin the dish.
The whole thing.
And yeah, I confuse crowd response to laughter. So like when I started doing like longer sets, I realized like if I went super dirty back to back to back, even if they were good jokes, like jokes that were working and shit, when you start stacking those together, it's too much of the same shit.
Right.
But I just try to go with what I think is funniest. And if that's shocking, okay. If that's clean, okay. Like at least I heard it tell, like he doesn't ever write clean jokes versus dirty jokes. Like you don't get to pick the premises either.
don't.
Like they come to you. That's one thing that drives me nuts is somebody, it's like, oh, you should do more material about being blank. And you're like, that's not how comedy is written, at least for me.
And you've never came to any of my shows to see any of my stand-up, but you want to give me advice on how to write a joke or what to write a joke
this would be
about.
more marketable.
It's like,
your hand keeps getting in that frame, by the way.
I got you.
Yeah, just keep
Good call. Good call. I did not know, bro. Good call.
Just like smacking the shit out of me on camera.
No, but that's a good point. That's good. I'm glad.
You had to have dealt with that shit though in like Texas and stuff. Where,
I've 100% had to deal with that, but I've also been good about being like a clean comic to a degree. You know what I mean? And sometimes a fun thing for me is to write a dirty joke and then make it clean.
Yeah,
that's fun.
it can be.
I've tried that, and sometimes it doesn't work, and it's like, okay, cool, and I just keep it this way, and it's fine. You know what I mean? But if it's possible to make it dirty, clean is good to know that I can make this clean. You know what I mean? Instead of trying to force myself to write a joke to be clean, I'd rather write the dirty joke and know it's funny, and then try to make it clean.
Yeah,
and that usually works.
Ideally it's as clean as you can make it.
Pretty much,
keeping the integrity of the joke, right? Like
and
because if it's not clean, you lose some percentage of the audience because it's like too dirty. But
it's not you. If you try to change the original writing of it or what you wrote down on paper, you lose that your personality in the joke per se. And so I don't try to change too much. You know,
the whole thing is so weird. I think starting in Seattle too fucked me up quite a bit. Because like there, and I'm sure in other scenes it's this way, like once you kind of get labeled as a certain way, like your booking opportunities get tied to that. And so you can't develop as quickly or as easily or whatever. And you might not even be a certain way. You're just trying to figure out who you are on stage, and people make judgments off of that. And it's, I don't know, that goes back to like like everyone in this space for the most part is completely self-interested. Like we're in an open source environment where everyone is self-interested, and like people who are trying to help one another more often than not are doing so with self-interest.
Right. Some intent to
I'm
just
booking
like
a show so that I can get booked. I'm booking this podcast so that I can get booked. Like it's fucked up. And that's like sort of the quote unquote game that's part of it. But like,
I don't want to be a part of that game. You know,
I
get it, but some people just feel like that's the only way they can do it.
For sure.
You know, that's almost like the gift of the gab type of thing that we talked about. Like you can talk your way into a club. I do this for you and you do this for me. And it kind of,
but it goes literally every environment, like clubs, showrunners, TV, like any of those people, like when they book for like something presents, like a Comedy Central presents, they'll try and have one big name on there so that there'll be a draw for the rest of the
sure.
So it's either you're Nigel Larson, who he boiled it down. You're either good at comedy, you sell tickets, or you're a nice person.
Yeah.
And if you have two of those three things,
you're good to go.
Yeah,
pretty much.
If you have one of them, you're going to be kind of struggling.
Yeah. You're probably open for a long time.
If that even, you know.
Guesty.
And it just depends on what the fuck you want to do. Dude, I had no idea when I got into this. Like, I was so suicidal that it got to that point to where I was willing to get on stage. Like, I hit the worst depression of my life. And so I
what led you to that?
It was a combination.
You were doing stand up at the time, of course.
No, it was what got me to go to that fucking comedy class.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So yeah, what led you to that depression? That led you to that class?
It was a combination of stuff. Some personal change. I can't go into all the detail on it, but one big thing was getting out of a relationship, and then wanting to maybe I guess turning 30 and realizing that I hadn't been pursuing anything I really wanted to.
Yeah.
Like,
super important.
And I'm envious of like people that start comedy younger, but I also like, I had way more to draw off of when I started, and like context too. Like I see people going up when they're starting and they're like, it's the like 23andMe, Tinder, like Johnny Depp trial, fucking like just super like surface level stuff. And I was heavily influenced by like music and movies and all this shit. And I also had like really awesome people around me when I started. Like I got really lucky with you and Mike and like just people that helped me a ton.
I'm good at just roasting you.
Yeah.
And doing impressions of you.
Yeah. Like,
My name's Adam. Check out these pythons. Look. Oh, man. Check out these thorns. You see these? Got my cans on. I'm ready to pod. That's
thorns.
Look at these thorns right here. Oh. I should get a mohawk.
You still want to do that for the show tonight?
With the mohawk tonight?
Yeah.
You do this. You gonna do the? Would you do it for real?
Yeah. I mean, if you cut my hair, I like. You want to go to JCPenney's and get yours tightened up? And no, we can do it for sure.
Get some. All right, man.
I feel like I'm stepping on Dave Landau though a little bit with that.
No, you'll be all right.
You think so?
Yeah, you'll be all right.
Okay. It doesn't look good on me. It doesn't.
I mean, I didn't want to tell you that till I was done. I already know it's not gonna look good, but I definitely.
It's gonna look really bad. Like I'm down to do it though.
We should do that on the pod.
Oh man,
that'd
just
be
bring
super
a camera
dope.
in there.
Hell yeah.
Well, I get naked when I shave my head.
Slow that up, man.
Why do you have to get weird about this now?
So Adam has a great show, great podcast. That's the end of the show. No, I'm joking. No, but so you started doing stand up in the midst of a depression that was heavy, right?
Yeah.
And then do you feel like that's another reason why you started to do the other two things, like the podcast and the cartoon, because you kind of just want to stay busy? Because usually people that have that kind of depression, they want to stay busy as much as they can. Do you feel like that's another reason why you started to that egged you on?
Dude, I don't really even know. I saw what other people were doing. Like I listened to a lot of podcasts and I like watched some stand up and shit. I just thought that was sort of like what you needed to do comedy.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. And I was
bro.
willing to put in that work.
Yeah.
But I think I mean, you talked about it on here where you like leveled up quicker.
Yeah.
Because you were going to so many mics and shit.
Yeah.
And I think I really bought into the hustle culture mentality.
Gotcha.
And now I'm like, yeah, so that needs to change.
Gotcha.
Like I think hustle culture can be beneficial in some regards. Like
right.
you need to do enough to where you're actually like progressing.
Right.
But I've found myself especially in the past few months, dude, where shit is just like breaking down for me. Like I cannot keep the pace up that I have. And that's part of the reason why we're looking at ending the comic.
And how long has the comic been going on now?
3 years.
3 years. And you talking about internet. Do you have like a big final thing that for the actual end of the comic, or are you just going to like cut it off, just be like done?
Well, that was part like, so we're at episode like 79 right now.
Yeah.
And I wrote during the pandemic, I wrote up to episode 100.
You gonna put all those out?
Yeah.
And then just call it quits after that? Are you still doing weekly like you're doing?
Bi-weekly for the comic, yeah. So the idea when I started was do a podcast 1 week, comic the next week, podcast, and I wanted to do comedy writing, so it was like build up this portfolio. Right. And as I did that, I realized like, oh, I think comedy writers are fucking annoying. Like I don't think I could be in a writing room with a bunch of comedy writers that never did stand up.
Okay, good point.
Or maybe it's like
that's a good point. I get what you mean though.
Maybe it's stand-ups that are annoying that I wouldn't want to write with or whatever. I don't know.
It's a very select few that I would personally write with. So I understand both sides of it's just about sometimes it's good to write with somebody that hasn't done stand-up though.
For sure.
Because they just have a natural thing just being, you can just riff off of them, play off of them.
Different lens. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it's selfishly, it's beneficial.
But it works for sure. You know what I'm saying? And so
I don't know, stand-up is really like, I don't know how you feel about it, but it can be a really shitty thing too. Like
as far as what?
everything besides being on stage.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's to me, that's the downside. But even sometimes being on stage could be the downside. And I'm not considering just saying, bombing or anything like that. But sometimes you do so many shows, you don't want to be there sometimes. You kind of phone it in, or you're like, let me get these jokes out, I'm going to do this and do my time and go. And sometimes that happens. Has that happened to you yet, where you just don't want to be there?
When I started, right, like probably a month before I started, I went to see Steve Ranazizi.
Okay.
And he was at Parlor, and there was this guy. I'm sure you know him. I won't use his name because I don't remember his name, but I had gone to Parlor to see Donnell maybe a month before, and this guy ran the same jokes within a month period at Parlor, which was the A room in this area,
for sure.
From what I understood. And I almost yelled out from the audience, like, write some new jokes. Okay? Like, that's how...
Doing? What?
But I had no context, right? Like, I legitimately
Okay.
thought, like, good comics came up with new shit all the time.
Yeah.
Which I still kind of believe in. I like, most of the comics that I respect are always... Maybe they're not rewriting everything, but they're always putting wrinkles in there, and like
it's a good new 15 every time you see them that you never seen
in a
before.
month though.
Oh, in a month?
Like how?
Okay, in a month.
How much material do you think a level comic is generating per year? How many minutes
per year average? I'm gonna say 30.
Yeah, I would say 25.
30. I can say they have and some of that they're probably not even like done. You know what I mean? Like not crisp to the A that they are. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So I would say about 25.
But that's part of that like 90-10 thing where like you have to go through all this trash to get to it. And there's that carving of it like on stage and stuff. So yeah, I saw that and I fucking like I basically like shit all over that guy. And wait, I'm blanking on the question right now. What got us to this?
We were just talking about
this happens to me constantly.
What were we talking about? I know we were talking about what led you to do the stand up. Oh fuck, I don't remember, bro.
This is a good part to cut out, I think, Henry.
No, we can leave it in. Fuck it. I don't remember though. And this is what is important about even leaving this in.
Yeah.
Because people don't know that this happens in a podcast. Like the things that you edit out, people don't see. So it's interesting to see what honestly happens mid-pod. You know what I'm saying? So like that shit is just I like you cut it out so nobody knows that you fuck up even though.
Dude,
it's how often does that happen? Well, you just like you're talking to the person right then and there.
Yeah. Oh, that's why I like prep the episodes. So, like that's one mistake I've made a lot with podcasts, and it'll come back to me what we're talking about. But like that's why I went to like really script heavy with podcasting because I found myself like there was no through line in the episode.
Okay.
And so like I wanted to have some kind of narrative. Like there's this really good book called Making Noise. It's about podcasting. And anybody that's like interested in podcasting, I recommend to because it's pretty much like it lays out everything that I did wrong when I started my podcast.
I got you.
And there's some things that I like, wiggle on.
Right.
But like having some direction for each episode is a big piece of it. But I have overcorrected and I'm working on that now where like I have super specific questions that I'm asking and then I'm not present. So
you kind of ask and then get ready for the next question.
I mean, you've been doing it for 39 minutes right now.
What you mean? I've been here the whole time. I've been super present this whole time.
Yeah, but like you see it though, it's different on that side, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like you're trying to think of what direction we're going with the conversation and what are your next topics while I'm talking right now and I start getting off track and like.
But that's one thing that comedy has helped me with though, in that sense of which direction do we need to go as far as conversation. Because, you on stage, you're doing, a 30-minute set or whatever. and you can forget what the next joke is, but you kind of gotta. Well, usually I will go up there a joke ahead. That's the plan. You want to go up there a joke ahead, and sometimes the joke that you're working on in the moment
suffers.
And it doesn't work. So the joke that was in your head that was next isn't going to work. So you got to figure out a way. It's a mental game.
When I hate when that starts happening. I know that you're supposed to be a joke ahead, but I feel like it always takes away from the joke that you're like. When I start doing that in my head, I intentionally stop doing it so that I'm more present in that specific joke I'm doing.
Well, when you have when you do longer bits, you know, when you have like like when I talk about being engaged, I know for a fact that bit lasts for a good 4 minutes, something like that. And so I when you write down a set, it just says engaged on it.
Mailing it in was what you were asking me about, by the way.
I got you. We go back to that.
Okay.
Engaged, I'll write that, and I know that lasts 4 minutes. And then I have another joke that's about pineapple Fanta or something. I know that lasts about 3 to 4 minutes. So I would do engaged, and I would say in my head, I'm doing pineapple Fanta next. And then I just go, then I'm present back into being engaged because I know what I'm doing next already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, when engaged doesn't work and pineapple Fanta's sitting there waiting to go up, you know, I might have like a one-liner that's on the side. That's like,
just
let's do this
audible.
one real quick. Yeah, and let's do this real quick. And that'll get them. And then you go back to the pineapple Fanta. So it's a lot going on, but it works. And that's what great thing about one-liners. They will save your ass.
They will, yeah.
Out of like nowhere. And people will love it, and you keep it going.
I don't have that skill set yet. I need to work on it for sure.
Do you have one-liners that just work out of nowhere? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's stuff like that with stand-up where when you start like blanking on stage, something else is going on where maybe you need to like engage the audience in some way, or you need to be doing something else. Like one thing I'm like really trying to look at right now with my stand-up is how do I get myself like excited on stage?
Right.
Like, you're doing the same material time and time again. So how can it be fresh and exciting for you? And like for me, I found taking chances.
Talking to the crowd, man.
You saw me last night. Like I had to dig out of like a pretty deep hole. Yeah. And I got out of it though. Like that's
you
like
did great. You did great.
But like I respect the hell out of comics that like find the hole and then like I would rather see a comic like go out swinging,
like just dig deeper.
Well, dig deeper, go out swinging, than fucking go up there and just execute.
Yeah,
like and do it with you can see it in a comic's expression on stage. Like when they're doing their jokes, like, it's really hard for them to manufacture excitement unless they're a good like natural actor, and then you can still feel it too. Like Dude, there was one guy I don't want to say the person's name, but we were in the same.
Podcast, bro. You say names here. This is my podcast
your friend.
today.
Like, you know him, but I worked with him for a full weekend.
Yeah.
And by the end of that weekend, I was like, this is the creepiest shit I've ever seen.
Hilarious.
Like, where it's literally like noises they make on stage and like stomping the foot at the exact same time. And it was all like, you know exactly who I'm talking about. It was all like fucking, it's manufactured so that like the audience makes a noise. Yeah. And they might not even be laughing. They're reacting to just that sound. And their little like laugh cues is, I think, what it's called.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know if that's what it's called, but I definitely know what you're talking about.
It's fucking creepy, dude.
It's that in a way that's that fucking being in that, I don't want to call it machine, but like you know how
goes back to mailing it in. Like how do you execute and continue to generate a certain level of performance when you yourself have nothing you're getting out of it? Like
I got you. That makes sense.
And I think so many people don't understand that where, like, I mean, how many times have you done the 45 you've done? Hundreds?
I'll probably say yeah.
Like, how excited are you about doing your material today?
I'll be excited when I get to those new jokes.
Yeah.
You know, and I always like to pepper those in. but the ones that standard 45 that I have is exciting to see different people, because I'm meeting different people all the time. The crazy thing about it is when I see people that I know are there and they seen that 45. Like some people will come back the next night to the show. Yeah. And it's like they expecting new shit. And I'm like, you just heard all this last night and now you're back again. You expect me to do some new stuff. So I might, even if that happens, I always try to throw new stuff in there for them. Like stuff that I'm working on and stuff that I haven't even possibly didn't do the previous night. And so because it keeps me on my toes just as well as entertaining them. Or I just might talk to them. Too. Yeah. That's the thing. Like I did crowd work last night, and I normally don't do crowd work, but I was able to talk to people, and that was cool. It ended up being a cool thing and meet some good people. And in the midst of that, I'll be honest with you, I forgot the joke. So I literally forgot the joke that I was gonna do, and then I was like, I'm gonna just fuck with them real quick. And then I just did the crowd work, and then I got back on track. And sometimes that is the funnest is not a word, but that is like some of the best ways or funnest way to do stand up, to get the crowd to segue you into the joke that
that's what I was talking about, is like when you're having a mind blank, I almost think it's like a natural way your body's telling you like, hey, you gotta just like do something besides. Well, dude, there's not only one way to play. Right. Like, and I also like, I don't have a lot of fucking respect for somebody that has one note they play through 45. Like it's just crazy to me. There's so much like face saving in comedy where it's like people want to like look good rather than be funny. Like, and when you work with somebody over fucking a weekend, you see how much of that's going on.
That's very true. Because and you talked about how mind blanking, because it is something distracting you. Sometimes it's either something personally, just your mind is like, I just want to do something else right now. Not necessarily something else as far as like not be here. I want to still do stand up, but I want to talk about something else.
Dude, we already forgot something in this episode too. Like it happened. It's a normal human thing. Like it's not normal to go up and recite 45 minutes of material all like a story. Like it's fucking creepy. Like, and just have the like manufacture, like whatever, the stomp and the, like it
refers back to that.
Dude, and going back to like references that I have in these show notes, like there's an interview I read with Louis, and he was talking about whenever he gets a bit to a point where it's like kind of rotting, where he's not excited about it anymore, he's been doing the bit the same way like 10 times.
He jerks off.
He jerks off on someone, usually a younger girl that is totally going to be okay with it, and it's not going to become a thing.
But he still locks the door. That's the thing that turns him on. He locks the door.
Yeah, that's, I mean, pretty normal. But it's shocking we get sidetracked.
Nah, but
he goes back to the intent of like what was the kernel, the idea.
The original idea.
And how can I do this differently? That makes sense, he said, like, if you're doing a joke differently every time, that means that you're like really getting the most out of the joke. And I think there are certain people like Quinn Fitzgerald, who is extremely fat too, and disgusting, and not like somebody I would ever ride in a car with for long distance.
See what happens when you get into semi shape? You just start just clowning everybody when you kind of get in the shape. You know what I mean? It's more like fucking garden snakes.
Dude, we're going to go. That's disrespectful. I don't like it. We're going to go to Zoe's tomorrow and like beef you up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm already beefed up, bro.
Yeah.
I'm cool.
But Quinn is someone that's always like doing jokes differently. He's always fucking with the same
bit. To a degree, same punchline, but different. And I'm learning that as well. That's very interesting you brought that up. There's some jokes that are somewhat the same punchline, but just worded different or placed differently to where I have to do an intro to them differently. And that's really interesting.
And moving your material around different points in a set, that can make a big difference. I mean, of anybody, I think I've probably, I don't know, dude. I've been really lucky in stand-up of people that I've learned from and been around. Like you and Mike initially when I started, and then you moved away, and
I had to get away from you, bro.
Dude,
I had to leave
you, bro.
I was just
old pretty quickly.
It was just like I can't see
And
this
you,
dude
I
anymore.
mean, you
for a
came
couple months.
back this weekend and you're like,
To
okay,
just to make
let's
sure.
put on Plies. Let's listen to Shoddy.
Let's listen to Kids Bop, his favorite song. I had to play
Kids
Kids Bop for you, bro.
It's that new Montero cover by Kids Bop,
Lit.
2022.
That's your
I mean,
favorite
it's
song?
out
man?
of control.
I told you.
It's producer Henry saved it. Like I sent it to him. I was like, hey, this is a piece of art, and he could not stop listening to it. And you too. You didn't know Montero.
I didn't even know it even existed, bro.
Yeah.
And then you showed me this weekend, and I'm glad that I'm never going to listen to that again.
If you saw what the actual lyrics are of that song,
I would like it more.
and then what they changed it to make it Kids Bop friendly, it's out of control.
That's the
dude.
funny part about Kids Bop. They changed the lyrics to make the song work. And even though these songs are totally inappropriate originally for a kid, they change it up to make the who's buying these? Besides R. Kelly, who's endorsing these things?
Or Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah. R.I.P. You just run bits now.
I'm just asking.
I mean, I didn't buy it. I streamed it. I
So
don't
you
know if
still
that makes a
support
difference,
point-
but I'm sure they make
Point
some
zero
kind of-
zero 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 0.0001%.
I don't know. I mean, I hope they get something out of it because
This kid.
to continue to produce comedy without realizing it is pretty incredible.
They got music videos and everything.
Unintentional
bro.
comedy
Just
is
unintentional, bro. They so
fucking
serious
amazing.
about it, bro.
They had to have dude, there had to have been a serious ass kids singer that
Yeah. Some Disney Channel
learned
kid.
the original lyrics
Yeah.
for Montero and we're like, hey, I can just do the regular lyrics if you need these too. It's so out of control, dude. It's
ridiculous, dog. But you wake up to that in the morning, so
I start
your
my day
alarm
with
clock,
it.
that and a cup of coffee,
Yeah, I mean, and a huge shit.
and then you do your
It's-
power pose, and you go
Yeah,
enjoy your
as
day.
you should. I mean, with as much as we got going on, a power pose is necessary.
So I do have a question about the pod because
Mm-hmm.
at one point you went from it seems like you just went from interviewing comics to interviewing other people outside of stand up. Like how
Mm-hmm.
did that? Why was that an idea that came up? Why did you stop interviewing comics? Not something I have anything against it, but I was just curious about what made that transition happen.
When I started, I wanted to do more than just comedians.
Okay.
And I've had a bunch of people on, but anybody that's doing a podcast now, if you're not doing video, I don't know what the point is. It's unless you can get on a bigger platform,
Right.
unless that podcast is helping you have a creative outlet
Gotcha.
and serving another purpose. I don't know how many people are going to have commercial success unless you land on a bigger platform or you are a very, very specific niche.
Gotcha.
And if those two things happen, cool, whatever, do audio only, but YouTube is the only thing that's actively pushing content out.
Right.
You don't go on Apple Podcasts and see these are the new podcasts that came out this
Gotcha.
week. There's just too many of it. It's oversaturated. And I didn't know that when I started. I wish I had. I don't know if I would have done video anyway. I'm probably glad I didn't because every 6 months I look back at what I was doing and I hate myself.
That happens with sets too, though.
Oh yeah.
So do you still enjoy not enjoy, but can you get through a podcast listening to your voice still? After all this time?
It's better when I see the video of it and I
Yeah.
just watch what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't think you could pay me to listen to the older ones. It's it would, and I think the weird thing is it would take me back to what my thought process was at that particular point in time. And I think what is settling in for me as a comic is this continues to be a game of not quitting. So
Okay.
to
for
keep
sure.
going till tomorrow is a win.
Mm-hmm.
And to be basing your decision on whether or not I keep going on commercial success or industry success is that's the closest way to getting to quitting. If you're waiting for something to happen in this space, you are getting closer and closer to quitting comedy. But if you're okay with figuring out how to make this work
Right.
without that, then that's the right place to be.
Gotta do it for the love of the game. You feel me? That's why I'm here hosting. You know what I mean? The first podcast ever.
Yeah, not
I'm
the pay. No.
So I'm blanking out. We got to get back to this. So
Blanking out or the mail phoning it in?
Phoning it in.
Yeah, that I had never had to deal with that before.
Mm.
And I did like a long run where it was, I don't know, 22, 23 shows in a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just fucking burnt out, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't developing new shit
Right.
and wasn't excited about it. And yeah, I wasn't taking care of myself. And I am, as a result of that, I'm looking at making some changes like outside of just creative stuff and like what's important to me. Cause I want to do as much creative shit as possible while living like a reasonable, like being able to take care of my financial needs or whatever.
For sure.
And I'm in a fortunate place with that. Also have had like a couple big changes on the personal front and
Good.
Which have been good and empower me to like make those changes, but I'm scared of it for sure.
For sure. I mean, it's different from what you've been doing for the last, 2-3 years. So it's a big change.
Bro,
I mean,
I can't.
being consistent with the podcast, of course, the comic strip and stand up, it's a lot for one person to do. And at least one person that's according to a person that's not doing those things or as busy. You know what I mean? Like a person with 9 to 5, see you doing stand up, podcast and comic book. Like that's a lot, but to you, you've been doing it a long time. You realize that it's a lot now, but before it was just every day.
Well, when you weren't fucking doing shows regularly or trying to like get on the road or do stuff different, you prep for this, like booking people out. And one thing that's really hard is like, yeah, I want to have people on, but unless there's a reason why people would be interested, like there's so many,
what, bro?
There's so many people.
I'm serious about this right now, bro.
Dude, there's so many people. I hate to say this, but like they think that like the world would be completely interested in what they have to say.
Hilarious.
And I have learned the world really doesn't have that much interest in what I have to say. Okay, like people would be like, I'd be great on a podcast. Yeah. Why would you be great on a podcast? Because you listen to podcasts and you think you're really funny. Like, how did that work for you when you went on stage?
That's
like,
hilarious.
it's like this. It's a skill. Like the people that have been really good on a podcast do a shitload of podcasts and they know how to do it. Like this is a craft and I fucking suck at it still. I've done 130 of these things. It's an incredibly weird experience.
Talk about it. 130, y'all. What episode is this?
I think this is 130.
You goddamn right. 130.
Yeah. All right. But it's just bumming me out just thinking about that.
You goddamn right. 130. Let's go. No, but And did this tie back to why you started interviewing different people? Because one of the most interesting episodes that I've heard was about the girl that I think she fell off a mountain or something like that. And when you told me about that, I listened to it and
it's fucking crazy.
That shit is crazy.
Yeah, Erin Antrim, who is the homie, she's doing much better for anybody that checked out that episode. And she's like back to training yoga. But
like, how'd you find her though?
She's a longtime friend.
Oh, okay.
Like family friend. And there's some people, I don't know. Probably the best thing that's come out of this is just you meet these people that are like beacons or like just, you're like, I don't understand how this person has this mentality in life. And like, there are so many things like even on this episode, I'm like, oh, I'm getting bitchy and crabby about stupid stuff. I'm hot in here or whatever. It's like, I should be excited right now. But like, yeah, it's part of being human. Like, I think my skill is like to fucking work, like just grind and to do things, which I'm trying to like dial back. But like this person, they just have a natural ability to just like make everybody feel better. Yeah. And she had this terrible thing happen to her. And she told me, I was like, fuck, I want to get this story laid down. And the idea for the pod was story podcasts. And like people come on, bring different stories. And like, I don't know, that's part of my favorite thing. It's weird when I get somebody on, they don't know how to tell a story and I always gravitated towards like stories with different family members and things. I mean, my older brother, who is like, he was on episode 2. He is a very good storyteller. My dad's a good storyteller. My whole family is.
What about your other brother?
Oh, the one that works in a bank.
Yeah.
Dude, I keep trying to get him to come on, and he's like, he just can't stop talking about the state of Utah.
Why can't he stop talking about that?
I don't know.
What's dope about Utah? Let's get to that. Maybe if we talk shit about it, maybe he'll like come up and defend it.
I mean,
because I don't know anything.
I don't know why he loves it. Every time he says Utah, he starts yelling the words too. I think it was in one of the fake sponsors for this. He works at a bank. He loves Utah, and
what is in McDonald's? I mean, what is in Utah that we need besides McDonald's? They just got that.
They don't have coffee. They don't have drugs and alcohol, which none of those things you like. So you're good. Do you know what they fuck with hard in Utah?
Well,
Like, they go really weird with like soda. They do I can't remember what it's called. There's some weird name for it, but it's soda with like flavorings put into it. So it's I mean, you like it. You go super hard with SPKs, but it's like you got a sweet tooth.
just put Sour Patch Kids at the bottom. Please.
Yeah, for SPK
SPKs.
is Sour Patch Kids. Thomas has been eating them all weekend.
And y'all ate them way more than I did. but so he lives in Utah. He doesn't want to come on the pod. And
yeah, dude, they go so weird with the soda though, because they don't drink caffeine. They get fucked up on sugar. That's like
get the fuck out of here.
I swear to God, Mormons. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I've learned so much about Mormons since starting my podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have a lot?
Emmett Montgomery came on and he talked about it, and it was just like soaking stuff, and you know that, right? Yeah. This fucking it would have been kind of cool in high school.
But you also learned a lot from.
Edit that name out, Henry, just for privacy.
I would think edit this whole part out. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, you can fucking probably cut out. It's
at the same time, this might be something that's real that people want to know. Like, we get hungry mid-pod, we go eat, and then come back.
I mean, you're the host.
Just bleep out the name. I would say bleep out the names. The restaurant as well. You want to keep the restaurant in there? Promo? What's up?
Yeah, Zoe's needs to be a sponsor at some point. But should we do story time?
It's story time. It's story time with Fathom. Yeah, it's story time. It's story time with Fathom and friends.
That's lit, bro.
Yeah.
Nice.
The name of the artist is in the fucking show notes, Henry.
Henry. Shout out to Henry.
Okay, 3 choices. First one is a car theft story, sort of, involving Taco Bell and banana bread.
Okay.
The second one is a drinking story involving my banker brother and myself.
Okay.
That like happened in New Zealand.
Okay. And
then the third one, all I can tell you is the words poop chest.
Oh, it's an Amber Heard vibe. It's between the first one and the second. I mean, the third one.
First one and the third one.
I'm gonna go with poop chest because I like the fact that it's like 2 words. I like that idea.
Let's do 2.
And let's do the first one and the last one.
Okay. All right. So Taco Bell. This one's not crazy long, and I don't know. Like I'm like working through this story. Like I don't even know if it's gonna be a stand-up story, but it's just I don't know if I've even ever told you this, but so my older brother, when he was like 15, I was 12 or 13 at the time. I just started smoking weed, and he came into like the room where we had the computer in my house in Minnesota one night, and he's like, "Hey man," I like turn around, I was playing The Sims or whatever the fuck I was doing at that age, like Tombstone Pizza. And like, dude, I went hard on Tombstone too. Like that was my shit. The personal ones, the little fucking just made me so fat.
Yeah.
That was the origins of fat.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
Tombstone
just
pizzas.
ripped them, and it took like an hour and a half for them to cool down too. Like you cook them and then you had to wait, so
dude.
long.
That's funny.
But he comes into the computer room. He's like, "Hey, big news! Like I can drive."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Like they changed the rules to like you can drive now with a driver's permit instead of getting your license."
Okay.
And I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, it's totally cool." I was like, "Really?" Like, and I just started believing him, right? Okay. And then he goes, "No, I'm fucking with you. I'm fucking with you. Do you want to go to Taco Bell?"
Yeah.
And he had gotten his car already. So like when he turned 6, he'd gotten the car to take the test and whatever. And it was, a 95 Ford Explorer. Like it wasn't a nice car, but
it got the job done.
Yeah, it got the job done. And I don't know if I was high that night or whatever, but like it wasn't really like me to do something like that.
Yeah.
But I had just gotten to the age where I was starting to get into some like mischievous shit, like fireworks and all this shit. So I said, yeah. And my dad was gone. My mom was sleeping. And so we fucking went. He wanted to go to Taco Bell. Taco Bell was far, dude. It was like, it was probably fucking 15-minute, 20-minute drive from where we were at.
Shit. Okay.
And
where's that exactly? What state is that?
Minnesota.
That's okay.
Yeah. And it was summertime.
Yeah.
Or fall. So there wasn't snow yet. It was like October or something. And we go there, we get Taco Bell. And like, when you were middle school, high school, getting high and got Taco Bell, like that was, it was like the pinnacle of, it was so fucking good.
Is this before Crunch Wrap or after Crunch Wrap?
This was before.
Oh, okay.
It might have
when it had
been
all the other items on there.
Dude, but the hard tacos there were, I don't know how many, I think I got like 6 or something with the cinnamon twist and like just went so fucking hard. Because we never left the house. So like when I went like hard in the paint.
Yeah, hard in the paint.
Fucking, we're driving back and we see like, just like cars stopped ahead.
Okay.
On the road we were taking, and it's a sobriety check.
Oh, okay.
And my brother sees it like way before me, so he stops. Yeah. He's like, fuck. And he whips the car around and turns, but then like he's worried that they're gonna see he's running. Yeah. So he guns it, right? Yeah. And like we had never gone this other way to get back to the house, but it was just like I'm pretty sure I was high, and we're tearing through neighborhoods that we don't know where we're going. Okay. And like just up and down hills and like all this shit. It's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. It's terrifying. Okay. And we get back, like, I don't know how far we are from the house, but it was like, we got the tacos, we avoid the police, like we're getting to safety. And then the phone that he and I had that we shared, like where it was like one day he gets the phone or the other day I get the phone, just starts ringing. And it's like that old school, like Nokia ringtone. Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? And it was just the home number. And like, I was like, fuck. And I handed him the phone. He answered. And I just could hear my mom's voice. Like, where the fuck are you? Yeah. Get home or whatever. So we drive even faster to get home. Yeah. We get back there and pull into the garage. She wasn't in there. Yeah. And we go into the house. We walk into her room and she's fucking furious. Yeah. Right? And she just starts screaming at him and screaming at me and all this shit. And she's like, I fucking went into the garage to get some banana bread and the car was gone. And we're like, both of us are looking at each other like, what the fuck is she talking about? Yeah. And my brother actually said the word, Mom, why did you go into the garage to get banana bread? And she's like, do you think I'm fucking stupid right now? Do you know how mad your father's gonna? And she just like goes to that route or whatever. And I don't know, I can't remember exactly what happened, but I'm pretty sure what I pieced together is I'm pretty sure she was on sleep medication.
Yeah.
And
does she remember that?
I don't think she even talked to us about it the next day.
Wow.
Yeah. But like we got away with it. It was like a small win.
Did you get any of the banana bread that she went to the? I guess
I never saw that banana bread. I don't even know. It was so weird that she had like an excuse for her needing to go to the garage to look for the car.
Yeah.
Like she didn't need any. She was our mom. Like
I would get her banana bread every year for Mother's Day.
Oh yeah.
That's
just to fuck with her.
Just to fuck with her, bro.
Oh my God, dude.
That's funny, dude.
Yeah, but I like. It's a little fuzzy on what happened with that.
Did your dad find out?
I don't remember him finding out. There have been a lot of situations like where he has found out. But he was always the one where like you're like, fuck, if he finds out,
of course,
is not good.
It's not good at all.
Yeah.
Jeez, banana bread's good though, man.
I don't know if I want to
poop chest, bro. Let's go.
Poop chest is like, this is just seriously like
exclusive.
This is a
Fathom
vile
podcast.
story.
Yeah, let's go.
Like it
shitty chest. I find out about your boy.
Yeah, it's for anyone watching on YouTube, like don't fucking, if you don't like explicit stuff, like this is just not the story.
Perfect story for you.
Yeah, so like I don't know, there was at one point in college or in law school,
how long did you go to law school for?
Just a year.
Okay.
But like I hooked up with this girl and she had never done any backdoor stuff and like was interested in it, and like I had been with somebody that had done a fair amount of that, so it was like I knew what I was doing or whatever, and I had never like had any this is just it's exactly what you expect with this, right?
Oh,
dude.
Shit. Pun intended.
She came over and she was wearing like a white blouse and like mini skirt and like, I don't know, boots and stuff. And she was going to be going out afterwards and, you know, looked great or whatever. And we started hooking up or whatever. She had never done this before and started doing it. Everything was cool, but like I could feel there was some other stuff going. Like there's prep work that you have to do with that. Like I've had enough gay dudes on this podcast that have brought that up. Like you don't bottom on the wrong day, you know, like it's just not, that's not
after Taco Bell. You don't bottom after Taco Bell.
Dude, you don't like after going to the garage for banana bread, you don't fucking
after Tombstone Pizza, you do not go.
That's I don't even know how to ease into this story. It's like
you don't ease in, just gotta go, bro.
Yeah, that's not how that works. That I've found. I think that might have been the mistake in this situation. I mean, you sound like you have some experience.
No, I don't, bro.
You don't have any?
I don't.
Really?
Honestly, yeah, I don't.
I'm surprised.
Don't turn the story off of me though. Finish the story, bro.
Okay. So like you fucking like you got to do that the right way.
Okay, before you even finish that, but like, how do you tell people that? How do you like tell that to a person? Like, do you tell them like,
I'm into that, or like
no? I mean, like, how do you tell them like you got to do prep work? Like, how do you get?
Oh, I didn't know at that time.
Okay.
So neither did she, obviously. Right. I knew that you like kind of could, but I don't know. I think like there has been a huge rise in like any kind of butt stuff.
Like over the last couple of years for sure.
Yeah. It's like the new taboo. I was an early adopter.
Oh gosh.
like so fucked up.
This is funny.
Goddamn.
So you didn't tell her. Well, y'all didn't know they needed prep work, and you.
So we went for it, right? And like there was like lube in there and like combination of other stuff, and like, dude, whenever you use and lube like that, you have like one hand that like is the lube hand,
right?
You know, and then what do you fucking do with this hand? It's just like. Just
full of lube.
Like what you should do is bring a towel in there ahead of
sure,
time. Like
bro.
You got to do that. And I really hope my mom hears this part of the episode. But
Banana bread, man.
Yeah, she's gonna go from banana bread to oh my god. Yeah, I think she's heard worse. But yeah, so anyway, like end up finishing, right? And like it was sort of like, hey, where do you want me to finish? And it was like, just do it in there or whatever. And I was like, okay, and like do that, and I like kind of I pull everything out, and there's just like a combination of a lot of stuff on my hand, dude. And it's like it's one of the grossest things I've ever seen, right? And I wasn't ready for I had never had that experience before.
Right.
And we're like laying there, and I'm trying to, even in this thing, I'm like trying to be sweet, like not like book it right away.
For sure.
And I don't know what to do with my hand, right? And I ended up just like kind of like just because she didn't have anything on. It was just like this, okay?
Yeah.
And she ended up like we were there for a few minutes or whatever because it just like I didn't want to get up. It was there.
Yeah.
Needed to go somewhere, and it wasn't like
You just rubbed it on your chest.
not in mine.
Oh, you put it on hers.
Yeah. No, God, dude, I never would do that. That'd be so I think I would throw up. I think if it was on my own chest, I think it would throw up.
But you like I watched you do it. You did like this.
Yeah, trying to show you what I did.
I didn't know.
I was like, it was like a spooning position. So it was just like,
No.
yeah. And it wasn't like, she wasn't like it wasn't huge up here.
Yeah,
so it was
yeah.
just like, it was just kind of like a flat surface.
Board. Yeah.
And so it was awkward. She was like, she needed to go.
Yeah.
And fucking gets up, goes to the bathroom, doesn't go in the shower. Okay. I don't even hear the water run. Okay.
Oh, fuck.
Right. And like, I'm like, I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Because like everything
is there.
It was here, then there, and there's no cleanup. Right.
And she was going out with her friends, correct?
Bro, she comes out of the bathroom into my room with her bra and her white blouse on.
Yeah.
And it was a white blouse. Wearing a mini skirt.
Yeah.
And she goes, I got to go meet my friends. I'm going to like this bar that was right up the street. And I cannot say anybody's name, and this is just like it's such a terrible, like
oh my God.
She was a very nice person. Like I still is. But like, she just left.
So she remembers this.
I still have no definition on. Like,
I got you.
But she just left. And she went to that bar the whole rest of the night, like took pictures, was like Facebook and shit. And okay, she either A, wet wiped at that bar, or like realized that was there.
Yeah.
Or B, was at that bar getting fucking hammered with shit all over her chest. The whole night. And like, how could you not, like, bro,
how can you not smell that, bro?
How did she not? And how did other like go up and be like, hey, did you smell it? Like, she smells like shit tonight.
I tell you right now, whoever you are, every friend that was with you that night better not be your friend today.
Oh,
get rid of all of them. They're not your friend.
No.
They don't tell you smell like shit.
Dude, it was a white blouse too. Like, it's
oh my God.
Yeah. So like, I told my buddy this, and he was always really good with nicknames. So we nicknamed her Poop Chest. And that's what, like, we call her PC for short. Like, me and like my three buddies. And it's fucking terrible. I know. I didn't even want to tell this story. Man. You made me tell it. So like,
I'll make you tell it again. That shit is great. That shit is hilarious.
I don't know if I can ever tell that on stage.
Sure you can.
Somebody might throw up in the audience.
She got to be there though. You got to give her permission.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. If she gives you permission to tell the story, I say go for it.
Thank God, like, that's not. I know one girl I went to law school with, and she's like gonna be a judge soon.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine? No, it's not her, but like, it'd be like Poop Chest is now
Poop Chest,
a city judge.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I would laugh for sure.
It was out of control, dude. I could not. I wanted to go that night to see if she like, and okay, for her sake too, we don't know if she had wet wipes and like did that at the bar or on the way to the bar or whatever.
But no, we know.
I don't think she did.
We know Adam.
But if that person wants to come on and clarify,
Please, you know what? Just stay Poop Chest. It's cool. Regardless if you clarify or not, the name is sticking. Just like your hand when you touch the chest, it stuck a little bit. That name's gonna stick. You're a Poop Chest for life. Now it don't matter if you wiped it off or not. It's over.
Jesus Christ.
Long live Poop Chest.
All right, we got to wrap up.
You got anything you gotta plug out there, buddy?
You go for it.
Yeah, you go for it, man. You're the guest, bro.
This is my own podcast. Like
I'm the host right now.
What am I going to plug my own podcast?
I mean, you got the comic strip.
Check out the Fathom and Friends podcast wherever you're listening right now.
No, you can follow me on Twitch at TN Comedy. If you just typed it in, I should pop up. YouTube, I've been uploading a lot of YouTube material from stand up to my Twitch streams. I'm always having fun in there, so I've been having a lot of that content go up on YouTube. You can follow me on YouTube at youtube.com/TNComedy1. Obviously, there's another TN Comedy out there. I don't know how that worked. But
I didn't even comment on you wearing this blanket the whole episode.
Shit lit,
is it showing in
I like
the
this
screen?
blankets, though.
Yeah,
These are my favorite kind of blankets, personally.
I know.
And then you go. If you want to just find everything that I do, or whatever, from Just Us Cops, the comic book that I have. If you're interested in that, we can put that commercial back in this episode, can't we?
I got some other ones, but we'll figure out.
Okay, I got you. If you're interested, it's a buddy cop comedy about two cops that go around and arrest old cartoon characters, pretty much. I started a comic book series that probably been going on for like 4, maybe 5 years now. If you're interested in any of those comic books, you can check all that out at tncomedy.net. All right, that's tncomedy.net. I got a bunch of shows coming up. Come out to some shows, man. I'm trying to get Adam on some more shows with us. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Just focus over here. Just look
like
at
this. I also got a new workout plan I'm putting out on Patreon or something. It's
just look at my thorns.
Hey, if you did stick through this whole episode, I applaud you. But make sure share, subscribe, hit the notifications bell, throw a comment in for Thomas or myself. Do you have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, I got a YouTube channel. I just plugged it at youtube.com/TNComedy1. That's TNCOMEDY1. My name's Adam. I'm doing Adam impressions on my YouTube channel.
We're gonna do a GoFundMe too after this for Poop Chest.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely do that for Poop Chest. I like put her hand on her chest and she just like enjoyed it. I guess I don't know. She went to a bar with a shitty chest. But at the end of the day, look at these thongs that I got. Got these thongs. Look at my tats. Fucking awesome. Quinn called. I just wanted to talk to him about my thongs. That's all I want to do. Thanks for watching the Fathom and Friends podcast. I did this just to show off my thongs. Anything else you got to plug?
Just jog on the way out.
Henry, keep all of this, Henry, by the way. Don't cut any of this out.
Oh my God.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And if you're listening, rate and review us wherever you're listening.
Great podcast, by the way, bro.
Man.
Overall, man, I'm proud of you, dog. I ain't gonna hold you.
Thank you.
Nice sit down, bro.
After you just shit all over me as a human being.
Drink my water. Check this out.
Will you hit that? Leave you with Jaga, everyone.
Which one?
The red one. No. Oh, that's...
Oh, shit.
I hate myself. I hate myself. Oh, I hate myself. I hate myself. Oh, I hate myself. I just make the waves, I don't write them. I can hear the lyrics in my spirit as I write them. Why you wanna walk and talk just like them? I can't get caught up in all the hype and the excitement. I just make the waves, I don't write them. I can hear the lyrics in my spirit as I write them. Why you wanna walk and talk just like them? I can't get caught up in all the hype and the excitement. My wave pool, Welcome to my wave pool, my wave pool. 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 Welcome to my wave pool.